I'm at 3708 Zinsle Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We are looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be concerning for the buyer. The access location is the main stack on the middle left of the basement, next to the stationary tub and hot water heater. And the stack is cast iron. Based off the age of the house, I would expect there to be cast iron going into clay. Cast iron isn't a horrible material, but it always looks ugly. And so, usually with the cast iron, you're just looking for any obvious holes or breaks, but it's a lot more common to have soft clogs in cast iron just due to the roughness of the pipe. And so, I always recommend that you don't use any kind of wet wipes or anything other than toilet paper to try to prevent that. A little repair, or probably just an addition down there for a Y in for a fixture, I assume, or maybe a floor drain. But some good repair. It's lined up well. Well, it looks like the cast iron's in pretty good shape. It's holding shape overall. You tend to see a lot of like mineral deposits and build up kind of channeling in the center, and this doesn't look like it's real bad for its age. It looks pretty par for the course as far as age of material. Wide open. And here we are transitioning into clay. Looks like there's a tiny bit of roots there at that connection. It's pretty common for that connection just because of here going like a 4 into a 6, or in this case it almost looks like you got about a 3 going into a 4 here. And that's a little bit of the bleed through of the original connection, the concrete they used to pack around that joint. Root intrusion is probably the most common thing you'll see with clay lines. It's probably 80 to 90% of all clay lines have some root intrusion because they always tend to plant trees right in the middle of the front yard. So, it's not all the way down in the flow line, but some obvious minor to medium root intrusion. Again, this is pretty common for a house of this age of material. At this point, you're looking to make sure that those are getting in at the joints and not any breaks or cracks in the pipe itself. It's very common for them to get in at the joints. A lot of times the packing they used in this era, it was probably like a mortar, and sometimes that mortar just over time can kind of crack and shrink around that area, and it just starts letting in a little bit of roots. It's nothing they like more than water and fertilizer all in one place. So regular maintenance is usually all that's needed. Chemical treatments or mechanical cleanings, but preventative maintenance with the chemical usually is the cheapest route, the easiest way to go. is we'll get all the way to the main and then we'll run some water and make sure that we keep the lens clean on the way back. A lot of times it's easier to see on the way back anyway. And here we are at the main. So, I'm going to pause the video for a minute, we're going to run some water, and then we'll continue the inspection on the way back. Alright, got the water. It didn't take long for the water to make its way all the way out to the main. And so we'll just watch to see how the line's functioning on the way back. So we do have some root intrusion. That's all the way out of the street, so if there's any structural issues out that far, that would be on the Metropolitan Sewer District. Try to switch over the water. Head it backwards. Try to run some cold water through it better than the warm. Sometimes that helps out. Probably one of the worst ones here, 52 feet. So it's not a bad, not a overwhelmingly high amount of roots there, but enough to require at least a chemical treatment, maybe a cleaning, just because you're starting to get down, like in this area, you're starting to get down in the flow line here. It's pretty close together. So as you can see, it's not obstructing flow, and again, this is very normal for clay at this age, just getting in at the joints like that. It seems like when you're up by the house, with the tree. You see, that's where it's getting in. There are permanent solutions to this, but the most common thing you see, this has been happening for, decades and decades. It's something that you do regular maintenance on the line. Old sewers require maintenance, just like anything else in a home. You need to make sure that if you're doing preventative maintenance and putting a chemical down there once a year, like Root X or something, that would normally keep them at bay, and then maybe take a look after 5 years or so and check to see how much the roots are growing, if at all, to see if you need to adjust the maintenance schedule. But it's a very normal thing. So probably 80 to 90% of all lines of this age and material combination have some form of root intrusion. If there's a tree on the property within distance of the sewer line, they usually find their way in. As long as you keep them controlled, and they don't cause a whole lot of damage. You can see the cast iron. Here's that repair. You can see the cast iron overall. Looks like it's in really good shape. It's pretty much the same original diameter, which is what you're looking for. So as long as you only flush things you're supposed to, steer clear of those wet wipes and paper towels and stuff like that, so you can catch on the interior of those lines a little more than any other material because of how rough it is. Alright, so the line looked good. Structurally, the line was in great shape. I didn't see anything of any major concern. Obviously, we have that root intrusion, and again, that can be handled with some regular maintenance. But overall, the line was in really good shape structurally. So, I'm going to recommend that the line be cleaned to start out, and then do some yearly chemical treatments to keep it at bay, and then maybe do an inspection after 5 years or so to kind of check the condition of it and see the progression of the roots, and if you need to adjust the maintenance schedule at all, or either direction, or have anything done at all. So that's going to end the inspection at 3708 Zinsle Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.